well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Welcome to another edition of Bearing Arms, Cam & Company. My name is Cam Edwards. Good to have you with us today. We've got a great show for you. Coming up here in a matter of moments, Austin Tong is going to join us. He is the Fordham University student who is accused of a hate crime. Ordered to undergo diversity training by his school for a couple of photos that Austin posted to his personal Instagram account this past, over the past few weeks. So first, there was a picture of retired St. Louis Police Captain David Dorn, who was murdered in the riots and the looting in St. Louis last month. And then on the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square massacre, Austin Tong posted this picture to his Instagram page with the caption, "Don't tread on me." And then the date of the Tiananmen Square massacre, and then the American flag and the Chinese flag. That's it. That's all Austin Tong did. And yet Fordham University sent security to Austin's home to quiz him about his gun purchase. Again, accused of a hate crime by the school, ordered to attend diversity training classes, as well, by the way, not just the official sanction by the school, but the atmosphere of oppression on the part of the students there at Fordham University who attacked Austin Tong for simply posting these photos. Austin and his family came here from China, where, Austin also couldn't post pictures like this without running afoul of the government. And now you're seeing that same type of totalitarian thinking and action in this institution, Fordham University. So we'll talk with Austin Tong about that coming up here in just a moment. Before we do, however, a special announcement for President Trump for his top supporters. He'll be celebrating the 2020 Republican National Convention this summer, and he wants you to enter for your chance to join him at the convention. If you win, the team will cover the flight, hotel, and give you VIP passes for yourself and a guest. All you have to do is text ARMS to 88022 today for your chance to meet President Trump at the convention. Again, that is ARMS to 88022 to enter to win this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be a special guest paid for by Donald J. Trump for President Incorporated. So let's talk about Austin Tong and what has happened here. So I just started, I'm working on a new project, not connected to Bearing Arms, just something I'm doing in my off time. If you want to check out a demo version of this, you can do so at patreon.com/Cam Edwards. I'm calling it the Anti-Communist Book Club because I'm a history geek. And one of the things that I am just fascinated by is the history of the communist movement, both here in the United States and globally, and how the two, frankly, are interconnected. So I have at my house a pretty sizable collection of books that have been written going back to 1919. I think it's the earliest anti-communist book that I have, about 2 years after the Soviet Revolution, up through today. Taking a look at various aspects of the communist movement, how it's been implemented in the Soviet Union and in China, and then the American communist movement. And so I was reading a book recently, came out in 1955 by a Reverend Harold W. Rigney, whose name is entirely forgotten these days, but he was a priest in China at a Catholic university called Fulin University when the communists took over. This was located in Beijing. And for about 2 years after the communists, after Mao took over Beijing, Father Rigney fought a losing battle to maintain control of the university. Eventually, the communists took over. Rigney was arrested. He was accused of being an American spy as well as being a spy for the Vatican. He was taken to a Chinese prison where he spent the next 1,514 days in custody. One of the things that he talks about in his book is the legal system, quote unquote, in China and how different it is from the United States. When Rigney was brought into court, there was no attorney present. No prosecutor, no defense attorney. It was Rigney, it was an interpreter, it was a judge, and it was an armed guard. Rigney did not have the opportunity to present any sort of defense. Rigney was told, you can confess your crimes and maybe we'll go a little bit easier on you. But if you don't confess, we're just going to keep bringing you back. And over the course of about 3 years, Rigney had hundreds of court sessions that were basically interrogations. In addition to that, he also was subjected to a process called tucheng, which is public accusation. And basically, this was a non-judicial interrogation conducted by his cellmates. And I couldn't help but think about it. For hours, he would be harangued by his cellmates. Why didn't you confess? We know you're a commie, or we know you're a spy for the Americans. We know that you're spying for the Vatican. Go ahead and confess. He did not physically get beaten, although other inmates did. He was forced to wear iron fetters on his legs. He was forced to be handcuffed for months at a time, not for hours at a time, but for months at a time in this Chinese prison. And so as I'm reading this book, I run across Austin's story, and I'm thinking, man, not that there are exact similarities, obviously, between what happened to Father Rigney in communist China in the 1950s and what's happening to Austin Tong in 2020 here in the United States. But again, these public accusations, the lack of due process, the lack of an ability to put on a defense, it's not even that you're guilty until proven innocent. You're just declared guilty. I think that there are, again, if not perfect similarities, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. And there are definitely some rhymes at work here between the totalitarian regimes that we've seen in communist nations and the totalitarian actions that Austin Tong is being subjected to right now. So with that, we had the opportunity to spend some time with Austin today talking about not only what has happened to him, but what is going to happen next. Take a look and a listen. Austin, thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program. It's a real pleasure talking with you today.
Hey, Cam, I'm very happy to talk to you.
I wish we were under better circumstances, quite honestly. I have to say right off the bat here, I think what is happening to you is absolutely outrageous. But let's get into this. First of all, you're a student at Fordham University. Had you ever run across anything that made you think or believe that that you posting the pictures that you posted on social media would ignite this firestorm of controversy on campus?
Well, I didn't plan to ignite anything. When I was in school, I did realize that the environment was not so good. I believe that's the case for a lot of schools. I mean, I see that everywhere. But, it's different when you experience it yourself. So I didn't expect such a big backlash from people that I call friends. But apparently they're not friends. They're just not nice people. But I never expected this.
Yeah. So you, the two posts in question, the first one, a picture of David Dorn, retired St. Louis police captain who was killed in the rioting and looting in St. Louis in June. You posted this picture just with the one word, hypocrites, right? What did you mean by that?
So I said you're all hypocrites because when I turned on my phone after he died, the only thing I saw was President Trump's post, which he posted about Mr. Dorn. And that's all I saw. I didn't see any news. I didn't see anything. And people who think they have a great heart, who have a big heart, they weren't posting about his death. And I just felt there was no attention, actually. No attention from either the media or people across the world. I think that's a disgrace. He's a fine man. He's a black fine man. And nobody cared about him when we're supposed to care about everyone's lives.
Yeah, that it's amazing how that was mostly a local news story there in St. Louis as opposed to getting a lot of national attention. And then the second post that the school apparently had issues with, this was on the anniversary of the Tiananmen Square demonstration and massacre. And this was a picture of you holding your, and I understand this was a new AR-15?
It's a new AR-15. I just bought it.
And what did you caption that photo with?
So I said, "Don't tread on me," which is a statement since the American Revolution. And back in the day, we learned about the American Revolution. It's a proud thing. It's a heritage thing. And it's what made America, America. And I posted that. I said, "Don't tread on me." I also put the hashtag, which is the number 1989-64. And I put the flags of the U.S. and China as an appreciation of the right to have in this country, the right to bear arms. And I'm just trying to say that you don't have that in every country. And there's people who really want that right, that you don't have it. And I even mentioned in the comments, I said in the comments, that picture is not threatening. It's not showing violence. It's not saying anything about recent events. It's solely about honoring what happened And as a result, why we should be appreciative of the rights we have in this country.
I got to say, I agree with you completely on that, but clearly the reaction was quite different. How long was it before you started, getting criticized online for this, being told that these were threats from some of your fellow students?
Okay, it's basically right after I posted it. I barely had any positive comments. I mean, now it's different when the media and you and a lot of podcasts came to me. There's more positive comments. It was terrible, and the university even commented on it. They said that they'll look into this, and people everywhere were sharing it to attack me. And I don't mean criticize because that's protected on the First Amendment, and that's what we're fighting for, the First Amendment. But they were not just criticizing me; they were smearing me, calling me things that they shouldn't be calling. And frankly, a lot of things are racist. I mean, they're calling me a racist and being racist to me. And the university sent its Soviet police, that's what I call it, the Soviet police to my house, midnight, the same day, to question me on why I bought the gun. What am I trying to use it for? And it's a total disgrace. They were silencing my speech because they don't like it or they don't want to get the mob mad.
That is, the fact that they showed up at your house that night and asked you why you purchased your firearm based solely on that post is, again, this is one of the many outrages I think that you've been subjected to over the past few weeks, because it didn't end there, right? I mean, the school then took formal sanctions. They took formal action against you.
Right. No, it would be different if I was on campus or I was portraying violence. I think I looked great in the picture. I was very happy. I was a happy boy. And they don't like that. They don't like happy people, and they're very sad. But they sanction me for the things that they did. Okay? They charged me for hate crime. And they charged me for threats, intimidation. And I think that's what they did. Because I had the dean completely roll over my immediate future. And I had security guards come to my house, the public safety, come to my house. I mean, this is not something you see in the US. This is not something you see, and that's why we're fighting for this.
So to that end, let's talk about that. I mean, they charged you with a hate crime. Did they get specific? Did they tell you who exactly they believed that you were targeting with your posts?
They didn't tell me anything. They just told me that after our student conduct process, whatever that means, you're being charged with hate crime, bias, threats, intimidations. They didn't tell me anything. And frankly, I don't want to know their reason because it doesn't make any sense. And, I will not back down to this. We're going to sue them, and we're going to sue them big. So we're not backing down. I'm not saying sorry for doing nothing. I mean, I just exercise my rights in this country. And frankly, I don't think that anyone would think that they'll get in trouble for this kind of post, because it's not like I pointed a gun at the picture. It's not like I was holding my hand into the trigger. It was nothing like that. No.
Nothing at all. I mean, again, there was literally nothing threatening about this post, either in what you said or the picture itself. And, Austin, let's talk a little bit about your family. When did your family come to the United States?
So I came here when I was 6 in 2005. My family came a little earlier. And, when we came here, and as I grew up here in New York, I didn't experience this kind of political nightmare, as you would say, a political nightmare. This happened around end of high school, beginning of college. I mean, things completely turned around. And, I was a young boy. I had thinking that was different than what I have now. I was not exactly leaning to what I think now. And people were making fun of me for not being what I am now. And then I wake up the next day, I go to college, and everyone turned into a maniac. It's insane.
Yeah, it is. I mean, what you've experienced, I think, absolutely is insane. And I can't help but wonder, Austin, isn't it stuff like this that was the reason why your family left China? I don't know why your family left and moved to the United States, but I imagine the greater freedom that you would and your family would enjoy here played at least some role in that decision, right?
Of course, of course. Look, I'm Chinese, and I'm an American citizen, and I'm proud of my heritage. I'm proud of America, and we came here because, as a lot of immigrants do, for the opportunities in this country, and those opportunities are protected by what? And upheld by what? By the Constitution, the constitutional rights people have in this country. You're guaranteed to your private property. You're guaranteed for opportunities. You can speak out, supposedly. But right now, I don't think that's the case. And despite Fordham being a private university, they are trampling on what it means to be a university, which is discourse, debate, education. And education is not just going to class, in my opinion. It's about discussing new perspectives. And that's apparently not the case. They have their free speech codes, and apparently they supposedly encourage discourse and debate, rigorous thinking. That's no thinking to me. That's no thinking. I think they don't have brains. They're not very intelligent. But that's what happened, and it's totally a disgrace.
It is a disgrace. And you're right. The idea that colleges and universities are supposed to be places where we go and we're exposed to viewpoints that we've never been exposed to before, where we're exposed to, people with different backgrounds than us. That's always been, I think, a vital part of the university experience, right? That, as you say, that's part of the educational experience that takes place outside of the classroom, simply being exposed to ideas and people who are different than you. But now it seems like, okay, you can look different, but you absolutely have to think the same thing.
No, I agree with you. According to them, I'm supposed to be the face of diversity. But according to them, I have to take diversity training. And what does that mean? I keep saying this. It's called political re-education. They mark it as diversity training to make it sound good. And frankly, I don't think that I'm the insensitive. I think they're very insensitive for what they did. This is a school that supposedly praises discourse, and this is happening across the country. And Cam, I've had hundreds of students, parents, and workers come to me telling me about their experience being silenced, being punished for what they did, and it's all a similar issue. I think this is a national issue, and that's why I really want to sue them. Before it was about me, it detrimented my life, but I do feel that we have an opportunity to make an impact on the country. We can make an impact on the constitutional rights we have and how we need to appreciate them more. And we actually have to stand up and talk for them because liberty does not come free.
Absolutely. So you say that you are planning to sue. Have you spoken with an attorney yet?
We have a fantastic team. My attorney, Brett and Ed, they went to Harvard and Vanderbilt, very good schools. I don't think Fordham is seeing this, but they should be ready. And we have a great team. We'll be suing them very soon. You'll see this, Cam. A very big lawsuit, and they're gonna pay. They're gonna pay for what they did.
Austin, what is your advice to students or faculty members, frankly, around the country who might find themselves in a similar situation where they say something that is completely innocuous and is simply an expression of their beliefs, and all of a sudden, again, they're painted as somebody who's committed a hate crime, somebody who needs diversity training. What is your advice to those folks if they find themselves in a situation like yours?
It's very simple. We have a lot of opportunities in this country. So don't be scared to speak up. Don't be scared to say your opinion. Don't be scared to take action against those who silence you, because what's going to happen is if you stay silent, they'll keep going at it. And that's what happened to me. They told me that if I took down the post, that I won't be in trouble. And they told me that they can't lie about that under oath in the court. And that's what happened. Why I complied to them, they still punished me. And that's what's going to happen to everyone who stays silent. And this is going to be something not just about universities, about this country. We don't want this kind of environment because that's going to make the Constitution go to garbage can. We don't want that. So for the young people, for the old people, for everyone, you have to speak up. And I think now's a great time because I probably am one of the first people to be taking a huge legal action. A huge movement is forming. There's a huge movement forming. People need to stand up. And if they don't, that's okay. but know that you need to speak up as a role of a citizen, and that's your responsibility, or else this country will go to hell.
Austin Tong, thank you so much for spending some time with me today, sir. I really do appreciate it. I will be following your story very closely, and I hope that we can have you back again very soon.
Well, thank you, Cam. I really appreciate it.
That was fantastic, Austin. Thank you so much, sir. All right, we are going to pay close attention to what's going on with Austin's case here. We will be able to talk with them hopefully again in the near future. By the way, if you are interested in the Anti-Communist Book Club, right now the sneak peek is behind a paywall at patreon.com/Cam Edwards, but this is sort of a beta. I'm just kind of getting folks' thoughts on this. When this goes live, there will be no cost. It'll be absolutely free. I'll let you know where you can find it. All right, let's get to today's Armed Citizen story, our good deed of the day, our recidivist report. Actually, before we get to those, another special reminder from President Donald Trump. He will be celebrating the 2020 Republican National Convention later this summer, and he wants you to enter for your chance to join him at the convention. If you win, the team will cover flight, hotel, and give you VIP passes for yourself and a guest. All you have to do is text ARMS to 88022 today for your chance to meet President Trump at the convention. Again, that is ARMS to 88022 to enter to win this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be his special guest. Again, I've had a couple of folks ask, all right, I don't have a cell phone. What do I do? I've got a landline. Can I still text this? I'm not sure how texting works with landlines. I don't think it works too well. So I am going to try to find out if there's another way for you to enter. But right now, as I half jokingly suggested yesterday, borrow somebody else's cell phone. And then if they win, you can tell them, oh, yeah, that was me. And hey, guess what? We're going to the RNC. You get to meet President Trump. Again, ARMS, that's what you need to text to 88022, whether it's your phone or a friend's phone. Paid for by Donald J. Trump for President Incorporated. All right, on to today's recidivist report, our armed citizen story, as well as our good deed of the day. We're going to need that good deed, by the way, because today's recidivist report, it's a doozy. Take a look at this headline. Pure evil in the flesh, well-known felon, quote, massacres 3 fishing buddies in Florida, according to Sheriff. That would be Sheriff Grady Judd. These are the 3 suspects here who were arrested in this case. And that well-known suspect, so well-known that I'm surprised the jail hasn't been named after him. 26-year-old Tony T.J. Wiggins has 230 felony charges within his criminal history. Let me say that again. 230 felony charges in his criminal history. Sheriff Judd says that he has been consistently arrested from the time that he was 12 years old. He's 26 now. So in 14 years, this man has logged 230 felony charges. His girlfriend, 27-year-old Mary Whittemore, his brother, 21-year-old Roger Wiggins, both arrested. Sheriff Judd said of Tony Wiggins, I didn't stutter. 230 charges in his arrest history, 15 convictions, 2 times to state prison at only 26. He's a thug. He's a criminal. He's pure evil in the flesh. He's wild and he's out of control. Okay, I don't disagree with any of that. But I want to dig a little bit deeper here. So 230 charges, 15 convictions, 2 prison stints, and he's already back out? Okay, we're going to have to learn a little bit more about Mr. Wiggins' criminal history and why it was that he was out on the streets, actually out in the water, when this occurred Friday night. According to Sheriff Grady Judd, these 3 individuals, these fishing buddies, who were brutally murdered in Frostproof, Florida. Apparently, this all stemmed over an argument over whether one of the victims had sold the suspect's truck. Yeah, I know. Investigators said 10 minutes before the murder, one of the individuals who was killed was at a nearby Dollar General before meeting his friends, and then they were going to go fishing. Plastic Dollar General bag found in one of the victim's trucks, along with a receipt dated that night. The sheriff says detectives spoke to the clerk who said the suspects were in the store and heard one of the victims say he was going fishing. The sheriff said that T.J. Wiggins directed his brother to head to the lake. They say that Robert Wiggins stayed in the truck while T.J. exited and then confronted one of the victims. TJ punching that victim, accusing him of stealing his truck, selling the engine. At this point, detectives say they don't know whether or not that accusation is even true. Detectives say that Robert confirmed that his brother TJ shot all 3 victims, then asked him to help place one of them in the back of one of the 2 trucks. And then the 3 killers drove to McDonald's, where they ordered 10 double cheeseburgers and 2 McChicken sandwiches. Probably the last fast food meal that they'll have in quite some time. But TJ Wiggins there in Florida, 26 years of age, 230 felony arrest to his name, and still out on the streets. Now, our armed citizen story, this is actually an update. I don't know if we actually had this story the first time around, but here's an update for you. Out of Wichita Falls, Texas, KFDX reporting that a burglar who said that he went into a man's home to steal food because he had not eaten in 21 days has been sentenced. I don't know. I think if you hadn't eaten in 3 weeks, maybe your cheeks wouldn't be quite so plump there. But who knows? 26-year-old Hagen Bennett pleaded guilty on Tuesday, was placed on 7 years deferred probation for his crime. The homeowner said that he came home, saw Bennett coming out of his front door, and he then called 911, got his gun, held Bennett at gunpoint until deputies arrived. Police said Bennett told him that he hadn't eaten in 3 weeks and went into the home to find food and nothing else. They found a black bag near the front door with some food as well as clothes and bathing products. Again, I'm glad that this situation did not end with the trigger being pulled. Hopefully, Mr. Bennett is going to be able to turn his life around, won't find himself in similar circumstances again, but I'm also glad that that homeowner was there, had his firearm, was able to hold Mr. Bennett until authorities arrived so that some modest amount of justice might have been found. And finally today, our good deed of the day from Connecticut. Actually, I guess this is Nassau County, New York. Wantagh, New York in Nassau County, where officials say quick thinking from an off-duty officer saved an 80-year-old woman who had actually fallen and gotten trapped under a dock. Yeah, this was, again, like literally a case of just being in the right place at the right time. An off-duty Nassau Police Department aviation unit officer was just walking past the area, according to authorities, when the woman had fallen into the water and become trapped under the dock. The officer ended up ripping up the boards of the dock and held that woman's head above water while he waited for more help. Eventually, that help arrived. They were able to pull her out of the water. She was alert and conscious when she was taken to the hospital. Who knows really what would have happened had that officer not have been there to help effect that rescue. So, again, in the right place at the right time, willing and able to do the right thing. We don't know this officer's name yet, but hopefully that will be forthcoming. But we certainly do thank him for his very, very good deed. All right, that is going to do it for this edition of Bearing Arms Cam and Company. I want to thank you. Hang on 1 second. Looking at the wrong camera. I want to thank you for being a part of the program today. Much better. We will do this again tomorrow, I promise, with more of the latest Second Amendment news and information from all across the nation. But until then, don't forget you can subscribe to Town Hall Media at YouTube. That way you'll never miss a program. Or you can subscribe to the Bearing Arms Cam and Company podcast at Apple Podcasts or the other fine podcast platforms as well. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. Hopefully it doesn't get too crazy out there, but I am not confident that that will be the case. Every day just seems to be getting a little worse. We might actually get into that a little bit on tomorrow's Bearing Arms Cam and Company. You never know. Until then, be safe, be well, be free, and we'll see you soon with another edition of Bearing Arms Cam and Company.